Hey guys, good morning. Just coming back to you, making a little video today. Just like a basic update on the 86 so far. So I got it running already. It runs good. Right now I just got some tennis balls in there. I thought they would fit more snug, but they're my TVs are a little too big, so I want to see if I could find like a bigger ball or something like that. So like if I'm ever taking it somewhere, you know, pick up some groceries or something, you could put it in there just to kind of keep debris or bugs or whatever, moisture and stuff from getting in there. But anyways, it runs good. We had a couple issues with it when we first got it started, and we had a couple issues with the TPS. It wouldn't idle right, and if you gave it some gas, it would just act all crazy and stuff. I ended up getting in touch with All Motor Fong from PFI, and he told me to go ahead and switch on this TPS sensor here. He told me to go ahead and switch the left and the right wires, switch them, and basically just invert the wires. So that's what we did, and it fixed the idling problem. But for some reason the TPS is not reading correct, because now when you go ahead and you connect the Hondata and K-Pro, it reads basically how it's reading is it's 0. So from 0 to 100% being full throttle, wide open throttle, now it reads backwards, where 0 is wide open throttle, and 100% or 100 is foot off the gas. So I gotta figure out if I could fix that in K-Pro. Probably just have to go ahead and connect the K-Pro and calibrate it through K-Pro probably. So yeah, 14 to 1 compression, built head, stage 4 cams, SuperTech valve springs, retainers, SuperTech valves, Wiseco pistons, Brian Crowder Sportman lightweight rods, Myers competition headers. So a couple things I got to do to it still. That dog scared the crap out of me. The dog literally just ran through the front of my yard and out the front. What was I saying? Oh yeah, a couple things I got to do to it. I gotta finish. These are brand new fenders. I gotta finish attaching this fender down here at the bottom. So I got that to do. I also got a, oh shit, that's like a crack right there. Fiberglass. But yeah, once I get this figured out down here, I gotta line all these body panels and stuff up. But yeah, man, I mean, I finally got it running. It's been in the works for about a year now. show you the fuel setup. I just got, this is the vent. I just got like a cap on there for whenever I'm not using it or whatever. I could just put the cap on there if I got it running or whatever. I could just take this cap off and throw it in like a pocket somewhere just so it doesn't get lost. But so the fuel system, it's a little 4-gallon fuel cell that I built like a bracket for, you know, just to kind of keep it off the floor of the car. That's in the center. And then I did the fuel lines out of aluminum pipe. That is a weld-on fuel pump. 2015A, I think, is the model number for it. And then those are just some bulkhead fittings. So this is the inlet, or the inlet to the pump outlet, and then it just goes through a bulkhead fitting to the bottom of the car, and then it runs towards the center of the exhaust tunnel right there. And then kind of like right there where the middle of the exhaust tunnel, like kind of underneath the shifter assembly, I transitioned to soft line because my original plan was to go ahead and run, you know, hard pipe all the way up into the engine bay. But after thinking about that, my problem with that is that these cars have an extreme amount of flex on the front end. Like this over here, this from here forward flexes like crazy. So I didn't want to run, you know, after thinking about it, I was like, it's probably not a very good idea to go ahead and run to go ahead and run, you know, rigid pipe all the way over here, considering how much this body flexes, this chassis. You know, you have the potential of breaking a line, cracking a joint, causing a leak. So I just cut it off there, right about there. Forward is soft line. I got to figure out a different way to route this line here. This is the inlet to the fuel rail. I kind of wasn't thinking, and I could have possibly run it, you know, underneath somewhere, kind of snaked it through where the subframe's at and possibly came through here, you know what I mean? But I messed up, and I don't know. I think I could have done better than that. But right now it's working, so. These are basically everything on this engine I had purchased from, you know, for the most part from everybody. The ITBs were, you know, drag cartel, you know, pistons and rods, you know, K-Series parts, a lot of drag cartel stuff on here, a lot of K-Tune stuff as well. Sheepy Race radiator. I just finished wiring in the fans. The wire harness is a K-Series tucked wire harness, mil spec from Rywire. So what I ended up doing is originally I was going to run the harness through here, through this hole right here, because I couldn't figure out, it just was not long enough. It was not long enough to make it to that hole back there, which is originally what I wanted to do. So, I mean, my biggest issue was, you know, from the heat of the header, I kind of wanted to get it as close as possible to one of, you know, I wanted to come out through the firewall into the cab, kind of in this side of the engine bay. But my problem was the heat from the header and stuff. I just didn't want it to, you know, burn through the wire harness. So I started making there was an existing hole here. That hole right there you see in the firewall. That hole originally used to be for the clutch cable. This car brought clutch cable from the factory, you know. So what I did was, my idea was to go ahead and run, you know, install the quick disconnect for the wire harness on this hole, and then have the, you know, the second part of the harness go across the firewall, and then so I could mount my ECU and stuff on the passenger side of the car. But the problem was, when I did this, what I ended up doing was I took my Dremel tool and I enlarged the hole to make it a little bit bigger so I could go ahead and put my connector through there. But the problem was that the clutch pedal assembly is there, so I kind of made it, you know, it was going to be rubbing up on the clutch, on the throttle cable, so I didn't want the throttle cable to rub a hole in the wire harness. So I had to change a heart, moved it from there, and there was another existing hole right there. It's another existing hole there that I ended up getting a Dremel tool. Took a Dremel tool and made the hole a little larger so I could run my connector through there. And it's just, there's not, you know, because of how short the wire harness is, I really need it to be at least 2 feet longer. So I could have put it over there and had, you know, I would have been able to use the plate, the disconnect plate and everything that Rywire sent me, but it's just I couldn't do it. So it's just it's a really awkward situation when it came to running the wire harness. So got my little vacuum block there, fuel pressure regulator. Right now I think the fuel pressure's set at 45 pounds. I gotta tighten up this nut right here. Other than that, guys, it's a 6-speed Type R transmission, twin disc ACT clutch from Drag Cartel as well. Super short gears, man, in that transmission. I was kind of shocked when I took it for a test drive. I mean, super short gears. I mean, I could take off in second gear, no problem. Put it to you that way. So, as far as the ECU, again, this little plate made like a standoff plate here, just to kind of keep the ECU and stuff off the floor. This is where the wire harness comes through. Comes through there. Doesn't interfere with anything. This is originally the hole that I wanted to come through, but it just wasn't long. The harness that goes through the engine bay just wasn't long enough, so I couldn't do anything about that. So I made this aluminum plate just to kind of keep the ECU off, the fuse box off the floor. I mounted the ECU and the fuse box on it. Drilled a couple holes through the floor, bolted it down. Came out great. So shifter feels fantastic. It's, you know, it's crazy power, man. So I'm happy with it. Next thing I got to do, what I'm gonna do now is couple things I gotta do. I gotta mount the gauges. I gotta get a tack for it. Mount the tack. Mount my. I'm gonna go ahead and get a air-fuel ratio gauge, engine temp, and oil pressure. And I gotta make like an aluminum plate or something so I can mount it. Mount it somewhere where I could see it. After that, get it tuned. You know, I gotta get it tuned now. I talked to a guy. I ended up contacting Jeremy from Drag Cartel, and we had talked for a little bit, as he's familiar with the car. So he recommended, referred me over to a guy here, local to me actually. He owns a company. His name's Javier. He owns a company called Javitune. And from what Jeremy from Drag Cartel was telling me is that Javier, local, you know, local to me, he actually remote tunes Jeremy's cars whenever he needs a car tune. He has, you know,